All right, Judge Andrew Napolitano, great to see you. Thank you very much. Of course.
Meanwhile, President Trump continues to praise his new trade deal, tweeting, quote, Mexico, Canada, and the United States are a great partnership and will be a very formidable trading force. Dairy farmers in Ohio are optimistic about the deal as well. Here now from Ohio's Republican Congressman Warren Davidson. He is on the Financial Services Committee. So thank you for joining me. Tell me specifically, how does this deal affect your state? How is it different from what was happening before?
Well, I think it's a big win for the Make America Great Again agenda. Frankly, the promises that Donald Trump campaigned on are being delivered, and this is a big win. Specifically for dairy farmers, it's important because we've had kind of an excess of supply. Some of the things in the dairy market have made dairy prices low, and having an extra outlet is a big win for dairy farmers. Probably the biggest concern in the district is that the 232 tariffs on steel and aluminum remain in place. And so as I talk with leaders around our region, it's really important to them to see the path ahead in terms of putting an end to those 232 tariffs with our closest allies, the new partners to the USMCA.
Okay, but does it make them feel any better that everybody was saying if we could just get one win, there would sort of be a path forward and you would know we were heading in the right direction? Do they feel relief like that, or it's just still too soon to tell?
Well, I think everyone's excited because there's a little bit more certainty, and the idea that Canada is part of the agreement certainly averts a potential crisis. The big concern for people that are big users of metal, though, is that metal prices are still up by about 33% for steel and 10 to 15% for aluminum. And so, the uncertainty is that going to persist, or are we going to have the availability that we haven't had? And as companies assess their supply chains and they're going into their annual operating plans, that uncertainty is causing a pause in capital spending.
Yeah, and that's not good. Are you concerned about how this midterm election turns out, and if the possible change in makeup in Congress would stop these deals from going forward?
Oh, the makeup is incredibly important. I mean, you look at how the economy is growing and even the path that we're on. I mean, fundamentally, previous presidents haven't worked to make these kind of improvements to our trade deals. I spent the past, prior to coming into Congress, 15 years growing manufacturing companies. I've certainly been on the receiving end of bad trade policy, and I'm enthusiastically supportive of President Trump on these trade deals. The challenge with the way we're going about tariffs on steel and aluminum goes back to China really heavily. A lot of this is in place because China's dumping and subsidizing, and the WTO framework is inadequate to deal with that. So the big win here is we get the pivot out of having completed the USMCA to focus more broadly on China. And in one of the wins in the language of this deal is that it basically says we're not going to do deals with non-market economies, i.e. China.
Yeah. All right, Congressman, that's important to note because they enter into all of these deals from around the outside. So thank you so much. Good luck. Thank you, sir.
Remember when we had Larry Kudlow on, he said this is about getting the whole world against China. That is, we do the deals with the rest of the world, then it's a united front against what China is doing that's bad.
Yeah, to get them to lower tariffs and stop with the intellectual property theft, and then everybody can trade freely and fairly once and for all.
Yeah, may happen. Let's hope. A coordinated smear campaign, the White House slamming Senate Democrats for trying to block Judge Brett Kavanaugh's nomination to the Supreme Court. So how will all this affect the upcoming midterm elections?